Alrighty, welcome back into another episode of Getting Technical, brought to you by Better and Green. I am Ethan. With me, as always, is Wyatt. Wyatt, nice slate of college basketball tonight. Really looking forward to it. How are you feeling about these plays tonight?
Yeah, I feel, pretty solid about these games. I like all three, to be honest. Going to probably watch most of them as well. Had a pretty solid weekend as well betting. I believe I'm 4 or 5 days in the green. It's been a bad month, not going to lie, but the last couple days I've been hitting it pretty well. I've lost by the hook a couple of times, which would have made my weekend phenomenal. But a couple hook losses and then a couple really big wins. I was actually on USF straight up on the money line, knocked off FAU, and I love that game. It just feels so good when you hit something or hit something spot on, which was that game. So, and the same thing. I know me and you were both on Ohio State as well. Ohio State won outright. Again, we couldn't have read that one any better. Obviously, we have our games where we read them poorly, but those two were we were just spot on. So that felt good. Confidence is hopefully back. I had a couple plays last night, so those have yet to be played because we are recording Monday night right now. So hopefully those hit, and we can continue the momentum into the 3 games today.
Yeah, I unfortunately left USF off my card on Sunday. Extremely frustrating day for me. 4-0 on the leans, 1-2 on the plays. My 2 losses were 19-point collapse from St. John's and UCLA, who I had almost 4 points of line movement, closing line value with, and lost outright. So frustrating day, but overall a great weekend of college basketball and really feeling good about tonight's matchups. And speaking of tonight's matchups, we're going to start with a Big East play. This is an 8:30 tip-off time, so all our games are a bit later. You can find this one on FS1. We have first-ranked UConn traveling to 15th-ranked Creighton. I'm seeing Creighton right now as a 3-point underdog, home dog, over under 146. I'm going to throw it to you first. What are you liking in this game?
Yeah. So if you missed it, the weekend, the biggest game was UConn versus Marquette. I believe it was number 1 versus number 4. UConn won that game by 28 points, absolutely destroyed Marquette. I usually like fading teams off of a massive win, especially on the road. They're going against number 15 Creighton. Creighton's won their last 3. They've beaten Butler, Georgetown, and Xavier. Again, UConn's 14 straight games. They stopped Marquette's 8-game win streak by 28 freaking points. So absolutely dismantle them, like I just said. And I usually like to fade these teams. This is the one game I feel the least good about. But I'm going to go with UConn at the -3. And I know that's a lot, and I know that's gross. And this line's going to move in favor of Creighton. So I'm not going to bet it yet, but for the sake of the graphic, I'm going to take UConn. I think UConn ultimately wins. But the reason I like this more is actually the look-ahead spot, which there isn't one currently, in my opinion, for UConn, but there is going to be one next week or next game. And I actually love Villanova money line against UConn coming up. So kind of betting this as a future spot for me to bet against UConn. But it seems a little too obvious to take Creighton on the home 3 points, UConn emotional win. It's a strategy and a thing we've talked about all the time, but I'm going to go against it. I'm going to take UConn. I think they ultimately win, and I'm just hoping they win by 3 points.
Yeah. First off, love that spot you're talking about, UConn against Villanova, with that look ahead to Seton Hall, a team that they lost to. Absolutely love that. I will be on Villanova as well in that game, more than likely, depending on what that line's at. I'm actually with you. I agree. I like UConn minus the points. Very rare for me to take the road team in a situation like this, but I kind of think UConn's just immune to the system. They're winning. They're blowing teams out of the water. We saw last year in the tournament where I think they won every game by double digits, if I remember correctly. It might have even been by 20. Can't fully remember how that ended up going, but just blowing teams out of the water. Their only losses this year are at Kansas, which I believe was a neutral site game back early December, and then in a horrible scheduling spot against Seton Hall where they had to travel out to Washington, play 10th ranked Gonzaga on the road, got the dub, had to come all the way back cross country to New Jersey to play Seton Hall. just a terrible scheduling spot for them to get conference play started. Haven't lost since then. That was back before Christmas. So yeah, it's I'm gonna need more points with Creighton, I think, to take them at home here. Um, and like you said, no real look ahead spot for UConn at this point. Beat Creighton, beat Villanova back to back games back on January 17th and the 20th. So it's the same scheduling spot here. Creighton, Villanova, a couple days later. Um, yeah, I think Seton Hall is more of the look ahead spot. Don't love this game. Don't know if I'll be on it, but UConn -3. It's the play for me.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of points, especially on the road, and we usually don't see that. It's kind of thinking this would be closer, honestly, to a pick 'em, and it would have been crazy if Creighton was a favorite. That would have been a little too much, but thought pick 'em would probably be where this was at. But yeah, I'll take the ugly line in UConn.
Yep. Next game. These last two games we're talking about here, absolutely love them. Gonna bet them as soon as we get off the show here. Um, Hopefully the lines don't move too much by the time this episode comes out. But next game we're looking at here is a ranked matchup. 11th ranked Baylor at 25th ranked BYU. BYU just hanging on the edge of being ranked versus unranked. Some would argue Michigan State should be that 25th team. I'm glad they aren't, but BYU 3-point home favorite, over under 156. I'll take this game first. I love BYU in this spot. Talked about it with a few Mountain West matchups here in the past. Colorado State and San Diego State, I believe those games were Thursday and Friday this past week. Baylor, like I said, at BYU. Baylor already beat by BYU earlier in the season, 81-72. They have Houston on deck, second team in the country. So huge look ahead spot. Haven't played Houston yet. It's going to be a huge in-state game. Just a really good opportunity for Baylor to get a statement win. One of those wins that, brings them up the rankings in the tournament, gets them a higher seed. So don't think they're too nervous about BYU, who's kind of been struggling a little bit lately. And like I said, they already beat them. BYU, on the other hand, off the loss to Oklahoma State. Pretty bad loss. I was on Oklahoma State +6. I don't think they ever trailed in that game. It was a super easy win. But I thought they were looking ahead to Baylor. They probably were. Kansas State on deck, a team that they just beat back on the 10th of February. So again, revenge spot. This is a chance for BYU to get a statement win at home against number 11 in the country. No look ahead. Absolutely love BYU in this game.
Yeah, I am right there with you. BYU at the -3. This might be a big play for me. Again, Baylor beat BYU earlier, 81-72 back on January 9th. BYU coming off a terrible loss to OK State. I know me and you were both on OK State, like you just said. 3 points at home. Baylor's on fire right now. Again, they've only won 2 in a row, but I think they've won like 8 of their last 9 or something crazy like that. Maybe that's not so accurate, but I know Baylor's playing really good ball right now. BYU is looking very not okay. Again, they just lost to one of the worst teams in the Big 12. So I love BYU. Love them at the -3. Might just take a money line if you can get a good number. But if I'm going to take money line, it might be like a 3-unit play. I love BYU. And again, it's my favorite play of the day. I don't know if I'm going to bet it as soon as we get off because I just don't know where this line is going to move. It should move in Baylor's favor, I would think, but I wouldn't be surprised if BYU keeps rising in the spread here. So, yeah, BYU favorite play of the day for me.
Well, 2 for 2. I kind of feel like we're about to go 3 for 3 here with our final game on the card. Heading to the Mountain West. Personally, it's been my favorite conference the last few weeks, partially because they get scheduled on different days where we don't have a ton of great action. So, it's been a fun league to follow, competitive league. But yeah, we're looking at this game, 19th ranked San Diego State at unranked Utah State. Utah State 2.5-point favorite, over under 144.5. I'm going to throw it to you first to break down this one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. Not as much as BYU, but I do like this one, and I'm gonna have to lean Utah State at home. I'm going to take them at the -2.5. Again, San Diego State beat Utah. Utah State, what did we, about 16 days ago on February 3rd, 81-67. They beat them by 14 points. Wow. San Diego State, again, number 19, coming off two very impressive wins against two of the top teams in the Mountain West, New Mexico and Colorado State. Utah State and San Diego State are actually both tied at first in the Mountain West. But I think people are going to look at just the ranking of San Diego State. They're going to look at San Diego State's win over Colorado State. Utah State's most recent loss was to Colorado State. And then again, they're going to look at San Diego State's 14-point win against Utah State 16 days ago. So I think everything's pointing towards San Diego State in this game. I love Utah State. Again, if I could find them on the money line for a decent enough value, I'm going to do that because I'm trying to avoid all the hooks that I can. Possibly a Utah State BYU moneyline parlay could be in the future for me. But yeah, like Utah State, going for the home team once again. Not sure where this line is going to move. Again, I would think just because it's going to be a public play that it would move in San Diego State's favor. But we've seen these home teams get ridiculous amounts of love from Vegas. So I also wouldn't surprise me if Utah State got up to 3.5, 4 points there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go quick check. I'm seeing one source has Utah State as the highly public team so far. I saw this game opened as pick'em. It's already 2.5. That could be wrong. And I don't know if this app's gonna load for me here. So, yeah, it's not. Yeah, I anticipate this moving in Utah State's favor, so I'm gonna get ahead of it. Love Utah State. We're making it super easy on the viewers today. Lining up on all three plays here, but Utah State, I like it even more than I like BYU. You mentioned it. San Diego State already beat Utah State just 2 weeks ago. And I think the biggest thing here for me is when you have that little number next to your name in the top 25 rankings, you kind of get headhunted a little bit. Well, Utah State was 17th in the nation. San Diego State was unranked when San Diego State took care of them at home. Now it's completely flipped. Utah State is the home team, unranked. San Diego State is now 19th in the country. So now, San Diego State is the hunted. Utah State is the hunter in the revenge spot. Absolutely love it. Utah State is off that loss to Colorado State. Loved Colorado State in that spot. And think Utah State was looking ahead a little bit to San Diego State. San Diego State off the win. Actually had back-to-back wins. Had an overtime loss to Nevada and then had two revenge wins against Colorado State and New Mexico. So I think this is a bit of a breathe easy spot for them. Both teams have Fresno State on deck, although San Diego State plays them on Saturday. Utah State has a full week off before they play again against Fresno State. Both teams already beat Fresno State in the past. So, yeah, I love Utah State in this game. Think they win it probably very easily, 10, 15 points.
Yeah, and it was really hard for me not to take Creighton because again, we're rocking with the two home teams in the following games. And again, I really wanted to take Creighton, but I just think UConn's going to do it. UConn again kind of has that Iowa State mentality where they defy all logic, defy the odds. Doesn't matter if they're home, doesn't matter if they're away. They've won 14 straight games. They are the unanimous number one team in the country, unanimous favorite to win the tournament once again. So I'm going to, just because of the difference there, that's the reason I went with the one away team, but I wouldn't blame you if you took all three home teams in this slate. It's just such a huge advantage, home court. But yeah, I'm glad we're eye to eye. This could either be a fantastic day for us or not so great, but hopefully it's the prior or the first thing. And yeah, I look forward to these games. Again, these are huge for college basketball implications, playoff implications, tournament implications. So very good day of college basketball on Tuesday night.
Yeah, usually when we line up, doesn't tend to go that well. However, I think we've both been seeing college basketball pretty well the last few weeks. So I feel good about these plays. One more thing I'll throw out there. If anyone is looking to bet futures for the March Madness tournament, I know I've been getting down on quite a few teams. I think it's pretty chalky this year. I don't think you're going to find that we're going to get a crazy team to make a deep run, kind of like we got with FAU and San Diego State last year. I think it's UConn. I think it's Purdue. I think it's Houston, Arizona. I think the usual suspects are going to come in and get it done. So, Yeah, I think you probably want to get some money down on UConn and Purdue, to be honest with you. I think those are kind of the top two running away with it right now. Don't be afraid to lay the chalk. You can still get UConn at 6-1. I think it's honestly great value. Probably doesn't get any higher than that the rest of the year. So, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on with futures or anything before I close this out here?
You might get some good value on Purdue at the moment coming off that loss to Ohio State. I don't think they're going to fall that much. They only fell to 3 in the rankings from, I think, 2. And again, losses happen, especially on the road, but you might get like maybe an extra plus 50 in the odds there if you wanted Purdue. But yeah, I agree. I'm actually on Purdue, Arizona myself. I know Arizona collapses in the tournament year after year, but yeah, those are the 3, honestly. UConn, Purdue, Arizona. I think it's going to be one of those 3 teams. I guess the sleepers, and it's not really a sleeper, but Auburn might be in there. A couple other teams, but yeah, those 3 in my mind are running away with it.
Yeah, I'm starting to throw. I've got a ton of free bets, and you know my strategy. I throw my free bets on futures most of the time. So I just got money down on UConn. I'm gonna have to load up on them more than what I have, but yeah, I'm at right now UConn, Purdue, Arizona, Houston, Texas, Auburn, Michigan State, and that might be it. Maybe Kansas. Oh, Tennessee is my other one. So we'll see how it goes. But guys, that is going to wrap it for Tuesday's show. We're trying to get some more getting technical out to you. The slate just has not been great. We're really looking to break down 3 games, and outside of Tuesdays and Saturdays, we haven't had much of good slates where we have 3 games to break down. So when we do, we will have more episodes coming out. But be sure to tune into our lives on Saturday morning. We break down more than just 3 games. We try to go through the majority of the big games on the college basketball board on a YouTube live. So be sure to head over there this Saturday. I'm sure we're hopping back on again. Really fun time. We just kind of pick each other's brains, see what we're liking, talk through the games. Would love to get some comments. We'll break down any game that you guys bring up to us. So head over there, check that out. We'll also have more 5-minute wager coming out, and Tapping Vegas, our UFC show that Ben and Bobby have just been absolutely killing. And then Wyatt and I are going to be coming out with an NBA show later this week. We'll have some weekly NBA plays. Both of us have been seeing the NBA extremely well. So we figure we should probably get some content out while we still have the last half of the season to play here. Other than that, guys, head over to bettergreen.com where you can check out our articles that we come out with. We have some premium plays there and some other just really good articles. I know we have some Premier League soccer articles that my brother Aaron has been writing. Noel writes his NBA player props article. And then, of course, Yumi and Ben are throwing stuff out as well. Head over to Sharps. Use our code BET269, bet with 2 T's, BETT269. Great community over there. We've really loved it. You can follow along with our plays, post yours, interact with the guys over there. Super fun community. And then, yeah, just keep your eyes out on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, comment. Really helps us, helps the YouTube algorithm, helps us continue to do this, hopefully, as we try to move this to a full-time gig. Guys, other than that, good luck with all your bets, and we'll see you in the next episode.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.